Hello, everybody. Oh, it is talking another episode of Talking With tonight. Tonight we are talking with Mike Murphy of Chibi Comics about his IndieGoGo project, Samurai and Dinosaurs.
Hello, everyone. Happy to be
Uh,
here.
there's nobody here yet, but we will have a few people in a bit. Seems
So,
my live streams always start off this way, but everybody can come back and listen, to
of
everything that's
course.
gone on before, so that's always good. So how did you come up? So are you the author or writer on this project?
Yeah, I'm the writer, and Sergio Calve is the illustrator.
Okay, and how did you two get connected?
Well, our friendship and working relationship goes back a long ways, like all the way back to like 2004, 2005.
Oh wow,
Um,
cool.
yeah, we got to know each other on Mark Miller's message board. And then we moved over to another message board called Your Mom's Basement. And it was around that time when we started like actually talking about working together.
Oh, cool. We're getting three viewers. Anybody in the chat, if you have any questions or comments for Mike, feel free to put them into the chat and I will get to them as soon as I can. So, how did you come up with the idea for this comic book?
Well, the germ of it started for film fans out there. The elevator pitch I always give is one of my big daydreams, like the thing that I wish existed out there was if Akira Kurosawa, who he was a Japanese director, he did like Seven Samurai and Rashomon. Um, I'm stuck on this idea of him doing a film with Ray Harryhausen, who was a special effects juggernaut that like did all the stop motion work for like Clash of the Titans, Valley of the Gwangi.
Yeah.
Like really pioneered special effects. Like they were producing films at the same time, but obviously like opposite ends of the world. And just the idea of those two giants coming together and making a story together was kind of the start of it for us. And
Cool.
like, yeah, and
Cool.
once I threw out Samurai and Dinosaurs, at first we were laughing about it, but the longer we thought about it, we were like, that's kind of dope. We should maybe run with that.
Okay. Do you want to tell everybody what it is about Samurai and Dinosaurs? Well, I know the title might say it all, but there's
Yeah,
always a
yeah.
little bit more of an in-depth story
Of course, yeah.
without of course giving away too much because
Sure.
you want people to be surprised when they read the book.
Sure. Yeah, yeah, like describing it is always funny because, like the title says so much. But yeah, so the story focuses on a meteorite that crashes down on the outskirts of a Japanese city, and the daimyo of the city. The daimyos were kind of sheriffs by way of mayors, and they answered directly to the emperor. Um, the daimyo of the city dispatches an elite group of samurai to investigate the meteorite. And along their journey, the closer they get to the meteorite, the more time begins to like fracture and break down around them. And that's where we start getting into the confrontations between them and the dinosaurs.
Cool. Trying to think of what got you into comic books?
I've been into them my whole life. I guess my dad got me into them when I was real little. The first thing I ever drew was my mom bought me this big chalkboard, and I drew Superman. And he was just like a smiley face with like the S for a body and like sticks for legs and arms. Um, so
That's
I've
like me.
Yeah, uh, I've always been into comics. Like they've always been a part of my life, and it was one of those things where, like, you hit high school and puberty and all that, and everyone's like, oh, that's when I put comics aside. And I went through that phase, but like there was never a point where I was like, well, I just have to stop reading these. It's like, no, like it's just always been a part of my life.
We've got a few more viewers in, and of course, anyone, if you have any comments or questions, feel free to ask Mike, and I will let him know. ERTs is in the chat, and he says, "Evening all."
Evening.
Uh, and I guess what got you into you're the writer? What got you into being a writer?
Sure.
Obviously, you probably didn't get into the artistic aspect because, as you alluded to, you weren't much of a artist.
Well, yeah. So I actually, my day job is I work as a freelance illustrator and writer, but mostly outside of comics. Like I've done design work for video games, like for some overseas companies. So art still is a part of my life, but
Oh, okay.
yeah, but as far as becoming a writer, like the reality is like I'm really painfully slow as an artist, and trying to make it in the world of comics, it's like, you can take your time up to a point, but at a certain point you've got to be able to produce the material.
Yes, for sure.
And right. So like I just came to realize and accept like I'm a far faster writer than I am an artist.
Cool.
So so when it comes to comics, like I pretty much just focus on writing these days.
Yeah, that sounds smart, for sure. If you can do the writing a little bit easier, do it all. I was also going to say to the chat, if you can like and share this out there, let other people know that we are here talking with Mike Murphy about his IndieGoGo project, Samurai and Dinosaurs. So, what else? Anybody got anything to ask from the chat? I know I should be thinking of more stuff. Um, I guess okay, maybe just hopefully pass some time here. Oh, what's your favorite superhero or favorite comic book?
Ooh, okay. Well, to allude back to like my first drawing, favorite superhero is probably still Superman to this day.
Okay, yeah, I can get that. He's one of
Yeah,
my
yeah.
favorites too, as well.
Yeah, like, you go through this phase growing up, and even as an adult you get people like trashing on Superman and throwing the big blue boy scout thing around, and like, oh well, he's too overpowered, you can't get any drama from that. And I never got that. Like, as a writer, you look at Superman and it's like the fact that he can do anything and chooses to still be a decent person and an example to the other heroes of the DC universe. Like there's so much storytelling potential in there.
Yeah,
Um and
the
there's so
drama
much.
is the drama is in him not being using his powers to the fullest.
Right. And like I know everyone loves to do the whole thing of like, well, what if Superman went evil? Like that's pretty much a trope at this point in comics. And when it's done well, like you can get good stories from that, but I can't help but feel like the writers who lean too heavy on that stuff just kind of don't get Superman,
Yeah, for sure. It's like when I read the Dark Knight Returns the first time, and they showed Superman being a puppet of or I think it was Frank Miller or whoever wrote it, being a puppet of the government. I couldn't see that happening with Superman, but it
Sure.
was their comic, right?
Sure. And to be fair, like I read recently, like maybe a couple months or a year ago, like Frank Miller was saying that despite how Superman's portrayed in that story, like he does love the character, and he's portrayed that way because the story is Batman's story, and so it's all from his perspective. And if Miller was to do a Superman story, it would be from Superman's perspective. And everything that he loves about the character would be in there. So I thought that was really interesting to hear all these years later.
Yeah, for sure. We got the Bernie one in the chat. He says hello, and he says it's his birthday. Woo! Well,
Oh,
happy birthday.
happy birthday.
How old are you, Burning One, if you want to tell us? You don't have to, of course. Um, Trying to think of more questions. Maybe we'll. I know it hasn't been that long, but maybe we'll get on to the Indigo. Show the Indiegogo. That way, might spark some questions.
Sounds good.
So, how was your interview over at Kari Press?
It was really great. It was mostly us talking, writing and craft, and we were talking about samurai and dinosaurs. We were talking about brand. Yeah, Antonio's a really good guy, and I enjoyed my time over there.
Burning One says he is 18. He or she, I think. Burning One is a he. So here, making sure I'm sharing. Yeah,
Happy
sharing the
18th
right.
birthday.
Okay, just get the chat up here so you can see. Here is his Indiegogo. There's obviously a link in the description for Samurai and Dinosaurs graphic novel. An elite group of samurai go toe to claw against Jurassic beasts displaced in time. There is a thorn in time, and the only ones who can fix the damage it's created are a small group of highly specialized samurai. We're looking for help in raising $8,000 to fund printing and distribution of this already completed 100-page plus graphic novel. Samurai and Dinosaurs is a historical fantasy tale filled with steel, claws, thrills, and revenge from start to finish. Uh, Burning Wood says he's indeed a he. Okay. Oh, that is good. It's hard to tell
Established.
sometimes hard to tell with the name.
Right.
Okay, so you're for 100 pages plus. Do you have an exact number yet, or?
Yeah, like when I started the campaign, I left it at 100 plus because we weren't sure how many it was going to come to with the revisions and expansion that Sergio was doing to the art. It's looking like it's going to be 110.
Oh, yeah.
But still, if we manage to get into stretch goal territory, we might add a gallery featuring a couple different illustrators, and that would bump it up a couple more pages past that.
Cool. So is this like a one shot, or are there going to be any more of these, or?
It is very much a self-contained story. It's not the whole to be continued ... question mark thing at the end. It's a standalone story. I have a concept for a sequel, but a lot of that would depend on my schedule and Sergio's schedule lining up. But should it prove popular enough, like there is an idea for a sequel.
Oh, that is definitely good. We've got Todd in the panel from Ignition. Let's get tuned. Get tuned in. Sorry, Todd. There.
How's it going, guys?
Good.
Hi, Josh. Good to meet you.
And we got Manny's in the chat as well. Good Dog Press, that is.
So
He Ortiz is asking whether it is Todd. Yes, it is Todd. So how are you doing tonight, Todd?
I'm sorry, what was that, Cross?
I just said, how are you doing tonight?
Oh, I'm doing great. Thank you.
Okay. Now that we've got the introductions done with, or for now, anyways, unless other people come in. So have you done any books before this, or is this your first comic book?
Sergio and I did like I was telling you when we first started getting to know each other, like in the mid 2000s. We worked on a superhero comic and did about 4 or 5 issues of that. depending on how this goes, like maybe in a year or two, we're thinking of remastering the superhero book and maybe doing an Indiegogo for that. But
Do you have any of that you can show us, by the way?
yeah. Let me go digging through some folders. Like um, the reason I became a freelance writer illustrator is like it kind of became the thing of like we were working towards like breaking into comics, and like the more difficult and insular the comic industry became, the more we just kind of had to rely on freelance work. So we are considering this Indiegogo campaign like our first major like release for the company.
Right.
So even if you don't do a sequel to this, you might bring out that superhero thing you're talking about as another book
Yeah,
out later on, either
yeah,
as individuals or a anthology. Well, maybe not an anthology, but a compact one like this. Comprising of maybe
yeah. We
100 pages or something like that.
Yeah, we'd probably just put it all together as a trade. But again, that might be like 2 years down the line. As
Yeah.
far as the rest of this year goes, if Samurai is successful, I have one or two other campaigns that I'm considering running this year, but we'll see how things go.
Cool. Okay, and so your first campaign is the digital campaign called Paperless. $8. One digital copy of Samurai and Dinosaurs Remastered. Okay, so you've done what's have you had this out there before for it to be remastered, or did you just do it once and want to
Sure. Well,
remaster?
right. So what was interesting was like early on when we first launched, Edwin Boyette reached out, and he was asking us about that as well. So I it was originally listed as remastered because this was a book that we put together a few years ago, kind of like what Malin did with Graveyard Shift. It was a book that we put together for submission, and it didn't get picked up, and we just kind of put it in a drawer and forgot about it.
Uh-huh.
Um, but what Edwin was saying is, well, if this is technically a new book, and it's new to everyone who'll see the campaign, like just get rid of the remastered subtitle.
Yeah.
So I did for the campaign itself, but I couldn't change it in the tiers.
Yeah, probably because somebody had bought it because somebody's bought a tier, you can't change it.
Right, right.
Yeah. We got PS Melter is in the house in the chat as well. Hey, Melter. And we got Lorenzo here. We're getting a few people here for sure. And let's see. Now the next up is your $20 tier. And I think you said up there earlier that everything comes signed by you. So,
Yeah.
one printed edition of Samurai and Dinosaurs, physical edition. And of course, this will be signed, although it doesn't say it here. It did say it up near the top of the page if somebody wants to go up and look. So $20 for a 100-page comic book, over 100 pages, is definitely good. And if anybody in the chat has a question for him about anything that we're going over here, please feel free to ask or comment. And I guess the shipping. How much is your shipping? Do you know that, or?
Yeah. So we didn't want to, because it's open to international shipping as well. We didn't want to lowball it at 5, and we didn't want to go as high as 10. So we split the difference and put it at 7. And our logic is, like, I think Ethan mentioned this a couple times with Cyberfrog. Like, it's a bit higher than the minimum, but like that extra is going towards the extra that it's going to cost if we get international shipping.
Yeah.
So yeah, like for domestic people, sure, it's a bit higher, but like that's going to help us on the business end cushion for international buyers.
Okay, and I would be an international buyer because I'm in Canada, and that's what I was going to ask what the difference is, if there is a difference, because sometimes I think even in the same tier, if you do it, you can have it so it's domestic, it's one price, and international outside of the U.S. it's a different price. I think, anyways.
Yeah. Again, like Ethan mentioned that, and I'm like, well, that makes sense, and so I just
Yeah.
decided to have like one flat rate for everybody.
Okay, that makes sense. I just remember when I went to Back Stardust by Nasser. You
Hmm.
know, I remember him saying $3, for the shipping. $5 for the comics. I go do the shipping and it's $10. It's like
Right,
double the price of the comic book.
right.
Ah, unfortunately, because of that, I didn't back it. But $15, US. Then you translate that into Canadian funds and it gets even higher.
Right.
But $7 is definitely, at least for us international people, I think that's a good deal or a good price. It's not too high, it's not too low.
Yeah, I thought it was fair.
Yeah. Uh, and that's for one book, paperless and
Did you
print.
find this superhero stuff yet? You were looking for
Uh,
it?
yeah, I did. I figured when he was done going over the
Okay,
campaign, I'd
okay.
show it.
That's
Yeah,
fine. That's fine.
there's not too many tiers on this. That's about the only thing. Well, one of the book thing I would think that might need to see if you can do some sort of more tiers, higher price tiers. Do you know whether your artist is working digitally or he working traditional?
He works traditional, and as far as the ink washes go, that's a mix of actual ink wash and digital ink wash.
Yeah,
But the illustrations themselves are done by hand.
yeah. Well, that's more what I was wondering because I was thinking if he was willing, for maybe a couple higher price tiers, you could, if he was, like I said, willing, maybe offer some artwork.
Sure. Our thinking, especially because this was kind of our like, IndieGoGo coming out party, like our first
Yeah,
major thing. We knew that we were going to be like the new kids on the block, and we were going to have to really work for every sale. So we kind of
yeah,
wanted as simple a campaign as possible, kind of like what Diversity did with Iron Sights.
yeah. I get that for sure. And the thing is that one thing I've heard a lot of people like the original artwork, and the other thing, if you, I think your highest, we'll get to it here in a sec, but your highest tier is a lot, $35. It's hard to get to an $8,000 mark when it's only $35 max every
Sure,
time.
sure.
But these are good deals for sure. Don't let me discourage. I'm not trying to be discouraging in any
Oh
way.
no, I get you. No, it's all good.
And this tier is $25 for paperless and print, so that's for an extra $5. I think it's an extra $5. You get the digital and a signed book as well. And this is due out for April, I guess, right after the campaign is done.
Yeah, because pretty much like the whole book is done. The revisions that Sergio is making, he's almost completed. He's a beast. He works really fast. So pretty much like if the campaign's successful after February 12th, like we're just gonna lock down a printer, keep it in demand for a week or two, and then go to print and start shipping as soon as they come in.
Okay, let's see. Lorenzo says, "How do the samurai and the dinosaurs fit in the book?" I know we've already gone over this, but new people coming in will always ask questions other people have already asked.
Yeah, no, it's all good. I'm happy to give the elevator pitch again. Uh, So, long story short, a meteorite crashes on the outskirts of a small Japanese village, and an elite group of samurai are dispatched to go and investigate the meteorite. And along their journey, the closer they get to it, time begins to fracture and break down around them. And that's where we get into the confrontation between them and the dinosaurs.
Well, that would answer Lorenzo's other question of, do the samurai fight the dinosaurs?
There is fighting.
Yes. Melter asks, will your book be a limited run or continuous till you get tired of it?
It's limited. You know, the print run is going to be what it is when we shut down the in demand. And like we were talking earlier, like there's an idea for a sequel, but you know, we'll see if we get there.
And this is more towards Todd for this one. ERT says, I have a question for Todd. Why is it that every time I wear your shirt, you are MIA?
What does he mean by that? I'm not. I've been on 2 cross shows today. This is my second one.
No, I mean that you're when he's wearing your shirt, whatever that means. I don't know.
Oh, that I haven't seen him wearing it?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I don't know. I've been really busy. I actually got. Sorry, I'm yawning. I actually colored 3 pages today, so I actually was very productive today.
Cool. And ERTs is saying, can you draw me as a dinosaur? Rickosaurus. Vanny said. Good dog press. You don't have to answer that one if you don't want to. They're just trying. He's trying to be silly, which is all right. And double your pleasure. You know, get 2 copies signed for $35. So, you're saving $5 here. The other thing I might do for this one is just throw in the digital as well.
Sure.
Not that it's not that it's not worth it, but
Right. No, that's a good point.
And you're only allowing 25 of those, I see too.
Yeah, like we just because when we first started putting together the campaign, the main printer we were considering going through would have been Print Ninja, although now I'm not so sure if we're going to or not. And like the fees, and like I talked with John Malin about this because that's how they're getting Graveyard Shift printed up. The fees for getting those books across the ocean and actually shipped to your house is incredibly high. So I didn't want to do such a high print run that the weight of the actual cargo would have gone up too high, you know?
Okay, I can get that for sure. And if you've got any questions, of course, Todd, feel free to pipe in. And I see this is going to be. Is it going to be color or is it just black and white?
It's black and white. You know, like sticking to that influence of Akira Kurosawa and Harryhausen. Like, there's no way we could do this in color. It just didn't feel the same.
Okay, that's good. It looks good. And I actually do think it probably suits it.
Sure.
But gotta ask question.
Yeah,
The
no.
art looks real good over here.
Well, I have a little something to say about the art.
Okay, go ahead.
I saw, because I'm looking at the same IndieCon and stuff, and there's quite a few panels here where everyone's sort of the same size, and they're always looking straight ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Almost like they're talking. It's like I almost thought, are they talking to the third? Are they breaking the fourth wall, or what's going on? So I didn't see enough variation when we looked at this on because we looked at your book on Facebook or Fanspeak
Okay.
about a week ago, or something like that. When this first dropped, it was like within days when it first dropped, and we brought it up and we started looking at it, and obviously nobody had a problem with the art as far as its style because it is cartoony or it's sort of a less is more kind of style.
Mm-hmm.
And that, but I had a problem with sort of the shots.
Okay.
And just his use of them, because it's almost like our gang is standing over here and we're yelling at your gang that's over there, and they're just it's sort of the feel I got. I mean, I didn't, I read the dialogue, but I mean that's just a matter of what's the feeling I'm getting from this.
I get you.
And then,
Our intent was to go for like Japanese wall scrolls, which are very flat and two-dimensional.
Okay.
So we wanted to feel like that. And as far as like comic influences, stuff like Usagi Yojimbo and Lone Wolf and Cub, which, you know, again, like in their own respects, are very flat and 2D.
Right. Although Stan's a very good storyteller.
Yeah, Stan's a beast. He's amazing.
And down here on this page where the dinosaur's about to jump, or he is in the air, there's some tangents. Like almost looks like the tree is growing out of his head.
Mm-hmm.
And then from the perspective that was chosen, where you can see his feet on the ground, the dinosaur heads almost, I know they're coming out of the brush, but they're coming out of the brush in such a way that's almost looks like they're coming out of the ground, because they sort of match up almost, not exactly, but almost. Like they're pretty big dinosaurs. Their heads wouldn't be that low in the brush. They,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
It could be bent over though, Todd, in the
no,
brush.
well, if you look at it, the way this is sort of a worm's eye or a bird's eye view. Their heads almost appear to come out of the floor.
Yeah.
It's a little, the perspective is a little off here, but not not terribly.
Sure.
And I do like the sort of the washes and stuff, and the things that he did here. I don't have any issue. Again, like I know this is cartoony style, and this is something different than what I normally.
Superhero book.
Well, no, I mean it's just, obviously, like he's saying, they're going for a certain something.
Certain style.
Yeah, and now I get that. But I mean, you guys want to be successful, and I want you guys to be successful.
Well, thank you.
And I hope for the best for you guys. But I just wanted to say I just had some issues with sort of the choices, and it just almost looks like I said, we're a bunch of guys, we're standing over here yelling at a bunch of guys that are over there.
Sure, I get you. Yeah.
Another good questions, trying to know where everybody's coming from. But go ahead.
Yeah, and it won't be every page, but again, like part of the point of the cameo is going back in, and he's tweaking depending on certain scenes, changing some of the lettering, touching up some of the grayscale. So like not every single thing that you're bringing up is going to be addressed, but like there is going to be expansions and revisions made to the art.
One thing that I would suggest, and here's just a suggestion, because I'm not sure who's who, like who's on whose side, because their costuming is very similar, right? So since he does washes, I don't, maybe in some of these sort of lapel areas, or sort of how the clothes cross over each other, maybe one side of these guys has some gray in them, and then the other side of these guys don't. Because the faces are so similar, because it's a stylistic choice.
Yeah,
faces are similar. I don't know who's who. I don't know. Outside of this guy that sort of remind me of a character from like the second iteration of Flintstones. I think his name was Schleprock, whose hair was over his eyes like that. That's the one guy who looks different, and of course the girl looks different. I can tell that.
Sure,
she's a female, but the other guys, I'm not sure. They don't all look very similar,
Yeah.
Well, one of the things that we do during the course of the story is every time a character is introduced, we go into a flashback, and the flashback establishes who the character is, what their motivations are, and just gives the reader a few pages to get acclimated to them on their own, separated from the group. So I think that might help, like during the actual reading of it.
Yeah. And the one thing to remember that just from the title that I would get, that all the people are on the same side. They're against the dinosaurs.
Yeah, this is they're eight samurai working together to solve a problem. Like it's not a us versus them type situation.
Not in the fact of humans versus humans.
Right, right, exactly. Right.
It's us
Who's this?
versus the.
What is this character that almost seems like he's wearing armor?
Yeah, that's like I was saying on Antonio's show. That's the one that we get the most comments about. That's Tetsubun Dorgan, and he's a soldier who's crafted a dragon mech armor suit, and it's created out of bamboo and iron, and it's steam powered.
Hmm.
Cool. There's a thing too. If you can, maybe go over the various different, the eight samurai. I don't think there's going to be anything special about individual dinosaurs, or is there?
No, no. Um, I mean, you can argue that the T-Rex towards the end of the story is the main antagonist. The Moby Dick, I guess. But no, like there aren't like it's not like Gremlins 2. It's not like there's individual dinosaurs with select characteristics.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd be happy to go over the main cast.
Okay,
I
so
can
you went over Mr. Dragon here, Dragon armor. What about
yeah,
hair guy?
I can I can screen share if you
Oh yeah,
want.
if you want to screen share and bring them up individually, I'll put that over on you.
Let me just get these JPEGs loaded up.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Are you seeing my screen?
Oh, give me a second.
Not yet.
No, not yeah. You're just seeing your icon. Over here, I'm not. Right there is where. Okay, now you're sharing. You're seeing
Okay.
me.
All right. Cool. All right. So, is the character art loaded up?
Yeah. It says Ren.
Sure. Okay. So, Ren is kind of the de facto leader of the group. He has a complicated relationship with the daimyo, the mayor of the city, and that's touched on a lot in his flashback. I think some of that scene is included in one of the preview pages on the campaign. He's kind of the elder of the group. He has the most experience. Then we've got Ryucho, who is the youngest of the group. He's the rookie. He went to the same school that Ren went to, and he idolizes Ren. So that's Ryucho. Yotaka is the eccentric of the group. He is a samurai, but he is also an artist. The way I described him to Sergio when we were going through the design stages, he's kind of the samurai equivalent of like an Andy Warhol, and he sees sword fighting and the practice of being a samurai as an extension of being an artist.
Cool.
Seribuso is the wild card of the group. He's like, I mean, for lack of a better description, he's the Wolverine of the group. He's a lone wolf character who is the best at what he does, but in working with him, you have to deal with the fact that he believes through and through that he's possessed by a demon.
Okay, sounds definitely interesting.
Kenkyusha is the scientist of the group. He's the one that's brought on to figure out all the logistical stuff that comes with the journey and what's going to happen when they actually reach the meteorite.
Okay. Sounds good for sure.
Sumatsu is the chef. It's his job to like oversee like everyone keeps their strength up. Morale is kept high. He's kind of the heart and soul of the group, the Martian Manhunter, if you will.
Cool.
Bun, who we talked about.
Like you get a good glimpse of his armor there, which is good.
Yeah, Sergio. I really like his look. And then there's Tokai, who is the female of the group, and Tokai's kind of the one that's shrouded in mystery. Like, there's a lot to her that no one else in the group really understands. She's cagey and standoffish, and there's something off about her presence on the team, and a lot of that plays into the third act of the story.
Cool. I would suggest putting these characters maybe on the IndieGoGo near the bottom. That way
Yeah,
people can,
yeah, I
or
was
on the
actually gonna
update or
post them
something
as an
like that.
update.
That way people can see the main characters. Just put a head over the samurai characters.
Right. Yeah. I was actually like in the next day or two, I was going to post all of them up as an update.
Yeah, that might be worthwhile so that people
Yeah.
can look at that and then go back and look at the artwork and get a better idea of.
Sure.
Because I, obviously just looking at it, like I didn't read the words and I just looked at it and I was like, it was just hard to comprehend what was being conveyed.
So if
Just by
anybody's,
looking at the pictures,
I get you.
And as an artist, what you're trying to always do is tell the story. Beyond anything
Right.
else is can you tell the story even if the words are absent?
And because you were asking earlier, once it loads, the cover to the superhero book that we worked on more than 10 years ago.
I was going to say in the chat, if anybody has any questions or comments for Mike, be sure to ask and let me know, and I will do my best to find them and tell him or ask him or whatever. Since we've got 14 people watching now.
I'm going to switch back to your screen.
Yeah, no problem.
I mean, I honestly, I like the guy's, Sergio's style. I don't have, I mean, art's subjective, so I don't really have, I have things that I, like, if, as far as I go as an artist, I sort of gravitate towards the things that help me to get better, but doesn't, I've always like Stan Saki and Jeff, I look at it as a spectrum, right? On one end of the spectrum is Jeff Smith, and then the very other end of the spectrum, as far as realism goes, is Travis Shiraz. So,
Sure, exactly.
and then you have people that are all along that spectrum, and then there's ladders that go down, and I see myself on a certain ladder, and a bunch of these people above me that I'm trying to push myself to bring the same kind of balance or the same kind of thing, And
so what do you like in terms of realism versus cartoon? Like, where would you say your work falls?
oh, definitely more towards the realism end of the spectrum, but with a little bit more, positive negative balance, leaning towards like a 60-40 balance of black.
Sure.
Try. Not every page comes out like that,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah. So I probably fall underneath the ladder of guys like Butch Geis and Steve Epting and Michael Lark and stuff like that. Those are
Okay.
the guys that I really look to push myself to be more like.
The Burning one says he prefers more cartoon style himself. I guess for drawing.
It's a very popular thing right now to be more, or the artists that are getting hired are more this type of style, not necessarily the Sergio style, but a easier, quicker, faster, less is more style.
Sure.
But they're not.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't see the draftsmanship of, say, a Steve Rude in current comics. I see sort of a coloring book kind of ish kind of style that sort of makes me cringe a little bit. But there is a less is more group of artists, like I said, Steve Rude, and I'm trying to think who else would be on that spectrum, or Mike Kunkel, or that they have also the draftsmanship of that ability.
Yeah,
Whereas,
I like Kunkel a lot. Hero Bear and the Kid is a great looking book.
right. And he, obviously he left the construction lines there so that you could sort of see behind the process a little bit,
Right.
which is really cool.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Trying to think. Oh, Alan
I
Davis
know
is
a lot
probably
of
less is more, but with also the realistic side of things. But it's a little bit more cartoony than, say, a Jim Lee.
Sure.
I know something else that I know a lot about comic skaters have been doing is putting a tier in for the troops. Have you thought of maybe doing that?
That we have, and again, like being new on the scene, we wanted to start with the initial goal. If we can get there, something for the troops would be a stretch goal we'd consider.
Yeah. My, I like all the ones that you have. I just think, at 35, if everybody bought the $35 package, it's a highway. I think it'd be hard to get to the 8,000
Mm-hmm.
mark. That's my opinion, anyways. For whatever it's worth.
Sure.
I like I said, I bring people on. I'm trying to promote you. I want to see you guys succeed. Everybody's gonna give their questions, comments, to whatever they think. You have to do to succeed, and it's up to you to take whatever you want.
Yeah, no, totally. Like I'm all ears.
Yeah.
I'm part of a book that I'm going to be using 3 different styles in, and one of them is going to be more cartoony. In the sense of, like, going a little bit over top with the gesture. Think of a guy when he's running, he's sort of leaning back and his feet almost like he's high stepping. So you give that gesture, you push it to the extreme,
Mm-hmm.
and But I mean, I've been drawing this character that I'm going to be working on in that style, and I'm still not where I want it to be. It's not as cartoony as I want. Because that's the idea behind me when I think of cartoony, is take those gestures, all of them, even the fighting and everything, throw it over the top a little bit. Have it be more expressive.
Right. The key to cartooning is hyper exaggeration.
Right.
Yeah.
So again, this is. I mean, I like Sergio's work because it's not something I, again, would buy, but something I like and always have looked at. I don't even think in my entire collection, the only Stan Saki stuff I had was when he was in sort of their anthology
Right.
that,
Right.
like, Monkey Man would be in, and those other guys would be in. If he was in there, then I happened to get that issue for some other reason.
Mm-hmm.
But I had all the Bone stuff. I had a lot of. Right now, I can't think of any other. Oh, I have the when Mike Kunkel did Shazam. And he did something else at DC too, didn't he?
Yeah, Bone's great, and Jeff Smith's follow up, Wrestle, I really enjoyed too. Like, I know some people were kind of divisive on that one. I liked Wrestle a lot.
Yeah. There's a definite, different type of quality to it as far as, um, especially when you're working in black and white, it works a little bit better than
Sure.
realism. Because I don't think I like black and white books. Like, for instance, there's a UK magazine, 2018,
Hmm.
um, where they have Judge Dredd in it.
Yeah.
And I'm a huge fan of Phil Winslade, and he's doing something in there, and it's all black and white. But
Hmm.
it's good. I mean, it's good to see it because you get to see the black and white. And so, as a colorist, I do some coloring too. Like, I can interpret what I would do with it. And I always like looking at people's work in black and white. But as far as buying a printed book, I don't think that type of style lends itself to me wanting to purchase it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Vane in the chat, being a bit silly, says, "Do dinosaurs use Gillette
Oh God, why'd you even read that?
to create some, I don't know,
Rick, the
humor?"
more important question is, have you figured out what you did with your Gillette? Because it
Threw it in the garbage.
seems to be absent, at least for the last month or so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I probably gotta shave again.
You think it's time?
Hey, well, when it takes a month to get this, you don't get worried a lot, buddy.
Tell us some of
The
your favorite books and what books you buy and writers. Since you're a writer, what writers you like?
Sure. Well, visually, I'm all over the place, and like even when it comes to like genre, I'm all over the place. Like, I like a bit of everything. I really like crime fiction. I like horror. I still like the superhero genre, although not anywhere near as much these days. Um, in terms of writers, Morrison, like as crazy and off the reservation as he can get, like I'll still read almost anything that he writes. Uh, in the comic skate scene, what I'm in the middle of reading right now is I got Case File Arkham, like both volumes of that, which mixes like noir with Lovecraftian mythology, and that's been surprisingly great so far. Like, those books are really compelling.
You
cool.
like Ed Brubaker?
I do like what's funny about Case File Arkham is it delivers on the promise of Fatale in a way that, to me at least, is better than Fatale. Like, I love Criminal and I enjoyed his Captain America run, and he did a book at Vertigo called Scene of the Crime that I really liked. So I dig Brubaker's writing, but there was something about Fatale that just didn't click with me. Like, when he gave you the elevator pitch of, like, it's noir with Lovecraft, um, that evokes a certain thing in your mind, and just there was something about the book that didn't gel with me. At least not in the same way that Case File Arkham does.
Cool. Chrono said, "No, they use Flintstone electric razors
So just like a
for
pterodactyl.
the." um. uh, so, what got you into Comicsgate? I guess there's a question that I sometimes ask, sometimes don't, but
Sure. Yeah, and I was talking about this a little bit with Antonio. I look at it. I'm not so much into the drama stuff, like all the sniping and stuff on Twitter. Like, that's not my scene. Like,
yeah,
to
same here.
me, yeah, like, to me, what works about Comicsgate is it's an alternative business model that actually allows for a wider outreach than you can get trying to work within the traditional comic industry. That's all that it is to me. You know, like living where I live in Portland and doing this for the number of years that I've been doing it, like I've seen a lot of stuff and I've seen a lot of people do things from a business perspective that I just don't agree with. And I guess the easiest way to boil it down is I feel like in the traditional comics industry, there's so much that you have to keep to yourself, and you have to walk on eggshells, both in terms of your career and how you feel about certain things. And with a lot of the Comicsgate community, even if there's a disagreement or an issue or whatever, a lot of times it can just be resolved through conversation. And I don't get that a lot from the mainstream comic industry.
Sounds good. How did you come up with your name, Chibi for your comics
Sure, sure.
company?
Um, well, my wife and I we met at the Academy of Art in Chicago. And when we decided to start a company and move out here to Portland, her cat that she left behind when we moved out here, her cat was named Chibi, and so that's why the our logo is a little black cat.
Oh, cool.
And
I,
and
I, I
so
was. Go ahead.
yeah, and so like since we started out publishing mini comics, and Chibi is Japanese for tiny, like it just kind of seemed to fit.
Yeah, I thought it was going to have something to do with the little chibi drawings that are out there.
Well, like besides running the company, Selena does illustration work as well, and like she does do a fair bit of chibi commissions. So
Oh,
yeah,
cool. Let's see. Lorenzo in the chat says it's cool that artists with IndieGoGo campaigns are coming on here. Some people snub these up and only go on EVS at his friend's channel. Some people snub the up and coming channels like this one, but this is Comicsgate. Thank you, Lorenzo. Cronus said, "Well said." Yeah, like I'm trying to become, I'm promoting my own self too, but I'm trying to be a promoter of everybody that I can.
sure,
You know, I don't have a lot of money, so I can't always buy the comic books, but I figure this is another way that I can help people out. You know, at least to get your name out there a little, whomever's name out there a little bit more. Maybe they get some sales. People have gotten some sales when they've been on here. I know Agenda did the first time, and I think other people have. And people come back and watch it, and
yeah,
get
and
in.
it's appreciated. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I'm just going, sort of responding to Lorenzo's
Yeah, yeah,
comment. And at $8 is a great buy-in for your comic for sure. For over 100 pages. You can't go
right.
wrong with that. Getting over 100 pages for $8. You know, definitely less than $1 a page.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, our thinking was, yeah, we're going to have to work to meet that $8,000 goal, but kind of like what happened, with Iron Sights, like the lower price point we're hoping is an incentive for more people to join in.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's for the people that can't afford to get the comic and get the pay for the shipping and all that. So
Right. Right. Exactly.
you know, because that can add up, and that's, a good way for your international people. Again, switching it to US dollars and all that,
Right.
the costs add up. So it's a good way to, like I said, buy in to either get the comic, so, I'd say people, at least go get in at the $8 level of this
We're
comic.
we're always
Yeah,
looking for more customers.
yes. Uh, hopefully, as soon as I have the money to, which I think I might in the next week or so, and you've got another what, 24 days
Yeah.
on this. Is this the first 30 days?
No, we launched. So basically, the way Sergio's schedule broke down is he kind of had to start on the revisions and expansions in early December because he's going to be busy during the spring. So we kind of had to launch like right in the middle of December, and I knew that first month was going to be slow because of the holidays, but it was what it was, and that was the window that we had to work with.
Okay, so you, well, we're just coming up. Oh, you just, okay, so you've got basically to the middle of next month to come up
Yeah.
with this. Um, just because it's so low at the moment, and I'm hoping you make your thing. What are your plans if you don't get your goal?
We're prepared for that. If we don't, we're going to regroup. We're going to see what the number is at, and if it's worth trying again at the same goal, or potentially lowering it and maybe increasing some of the tiers or adding extra tiers at a higher
Yeah,
price.
yeah,
Um, we have ideas, but again, we'll visit that when we get there. But we're
yeah,
prepared. It won't
yeah.
be the end of the world.
Well, that's yeah. Of course not. I just figured to let people know. The one thing I might suggest if you haven't done it already is you're on IndieCon, which is good. Is maybe go through the different ones on there, see what type of tiers they have.
Yeah,
Maybe figure a way to boost your tiers. Add tiers and boost your sales. For different stuff. The
sure.
one thing I thought of for you is maybe the original art.
Right, right.
You know, sure. Maybe you put it that's at like $100. And you get 100 that plus one sign. I know there's double shipping costs in there.
Yeah,
Because
because logistically, I don't know if I mentioned this. Sergio is based in Barcelona,
yeah. But
so
I was thinking all you have to do is give him the address of the person, and he sends it from him. That way, he
right,
doesn't have to send it to you, and then you send it out.
right, but still, it's like working out the logistics of like international shipping per
Yeah,
piece, and the
yeah,
insurance on each of them.
yeah,
So, like, that is a good idea, and we are considering it, but just straight out the gate, like, we didn't, because, like, just working all that stuff out just seemed like a
yeah.
tall order first time around.
And that's again why I say you put it at 100 or $200 tier, or more.
No, you're right. You're right.
That way, any extra shipping costs you incur are reduced by the amount of money that you're getting for it.
Sure, sure.
And obviously you don't have to sell all the pages. Again, just like you did for the one that you set at 25, maybe you set that at 10.
Right, right.
And you can also obviously post or whatever, and you post which pages that they're going to get, not with say dialogue, but just
Yeah, 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 totally.
these are ideas. You know you we're going down in the viewers now. You got any ideas or comments or um, anything else you might want to say, Todd?
Hmm. Well, one thing is I always say this on my channel is if you're gonna bring something to Indiegogo, and like certainly the idea is by hook or by crook we're gonna get this out. Not to come to Indiegogo thinking, oh, this is our plan. You're this is just a way station, and if it works out, everything's great. And if it doesn't, be confident in what you're doing and what you want to do. That there's another way, and we'll find it. You know, and I'm glad you said that because it's important to the idea of going into this, and everyone's doing this so that at least you're paid for your time. You may not make any money, but your time is compensated. Especially as an artist, that's how I feel. It's like I definitely don't want to have done this and spent this much time doing this and then not ever recoup my time back monetarily. But again, by hook or by crook, anything I were to bring to IndieGoGo or any other crowdfunding platform, the idea is doesn't matter. If it fails, doesn't mean I wasted my time. I'm gonna find another way, you know. And I may not generate my time's worth, but I will get the product into your hands to sort of build upon it. And I appreciate that. That's how you came across. Is, you know,
yeah, thank you.
it's not
Yeah,
the end all be all.
yeah. I mean, you know, I'm like, regardless of how the campaign turns out, I'm gonna take note of all the people who do donate, and I don't know, like we're thinking about a potential mailing list or just some option that they'll have to keep in contact with us for the next time around that we try this out.
Right.
I know. I'm not sure. They're Hero with an I. They for anybody they are planning on when they do their. They didn't fund themselves, and they've taken down everybody that's back, and next time around they're giving them some incentive goals, if you will, to reback. You
Oh,
know,
nice.
but original backer goals. So if you backed last time, you get a special code, and when you buy one book, you'll get a second book for free.
Sure.
You
That's a
know.
good idea.
And I think those guys will find success the next time around because their
Yeah.
artists. Their artist was a little
Yeah.
unseasoned, and I've watched them become more seasoned over time. And I think they'll redo some of the pages and retool them a little bit, and I think they'll have a lot more success the
That's
next
Yeah.
great
time
to hear.
around.
Yeah. This was a bad time to. I'd say December, as we've been hearing, is a bad time to launch.
Right.
December, November is a bad time to launch.
Well, I don't even think it was. I think people were looking for a book they could get into or
Yeah.
purchase during that time. But I think they looked at
Yeah.
some of the
Well,
work
I
and
guess.
how
I
it was
guess. What,
colored, and it just didn't have the polish it needed to be
yeah.
to put it over the edge.
It was just a lot of books didn't fund in the last couple months completely. A couple did, two or three did, but a bunch didn't, unfortunately. You know, with Christmas and everything. You know, for the states, it's also Thanksgiving, Black Friday.
Right. Right.
Boxing Day.
Yeah, that's for Canada.
Joking. I'm busting your nuts.
Yeah, I know. But
Anything you wanna say that you haven't said, anything you wanna tell the people, um, to attract more viewers on.
Sure. Well, first and foremost, thanks to everyone who has already backed. We genuinely appreciate it. And as far as the rest of the time remaining on it goes, from here to February 12th, I'll be promoting the book fairly heavy. There's plans to go on a few different shows next week. Nothing's finalized, so I can't give any times just yet, but please check out my Twitter. And as far as interest in the book goes, if you're a fan of the two guys that I mentioned, Kurosawa or Harryhausen, or if you're a fan of just monster movies in general, if your tastes lean more towards the eclectic or the cartoonish, I really do think this would be a book that's up your alley. It's a lot of action adventure. There's revenge elements to it, and it's all around just a good time. And it's still to this day like one of the favorite things that I've ever been involved with. So I hope you'll back.
Yes. Oh, the one thing that I was going to say too is, or just thinking about, the other thing you might try to do is start growing your YouTube presence. I put your thing in the chat, so I suggest anybody go subscribe to his channel and maybe start letting people making videos, of some sort.
Yeah,
Yeah,
my rough plan, starting Monday actually is I'm aiming for a video a day. We'll see how that goes.
yeah.
But I am
I,
definitely going to be working on the channel.
Yeah, and I know that's a hard thing because when I started, I opened my channel in July,
Hard
in
around 4 times
April.
a day. Hard thing.
Uh,
It's not hard for
uh,
you.
yeah, it was at first when I opened my channel in April, and then I started live streaming in July.
Hmm.
I had to figure out a time to do it each day, and it was hard, to figure out that time and just do it no matter what.
Right.
It's got to be, unfortunately, become a part of your life as much as you hate it, but you love it.
Oh yeah, no,
And
it's a part-time job just like anything else.
yeah, and growing, and it's making contacts with people like us to help, and doing what you can to grow your channel. I'm not sure how many you got Twitter followers you got, bringing them over.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Uh, you know, uh, that's, like I said, one other thing that I can think of to help you for, I'd say next month, but hopefully that way you don't have it. Well, yeah, hopefully you get funded so next time is another book.
Right, right, right. Well, fingers crossed.
Yes. So you want to show for yourself there, Todd? We've been going just over an hour. I know sometimes these go shorter, sometimes these go longer. It just depends on whatever.
Sure. You can find me at my channel, Ignition Get Tuned In. I don't do a video a day or four a day, but you can also find me on Twitter at Marooney Todd. And thanks for allowing me to come in here and being able to talk with your guest. I appreciate it.
Oh, no problem. And you want to show for yourself, Mike? Tell people everywhere that they can find you.
Sure, you can find me primarily on Twitter at Chibi_Mike. My YouTube channel is the Chibi Mike, or you can look up Comics in Current Year. And just look up Samurai and Dinosaurs on IndieGoGo, and please consider being a backer. We'd greatly appreciate it.
All right, and of course, I'm Mark Piper of Cross Comics. You can find me here Monday through Friday at noon, doing a live drawing. And if you're ever in the chat, around noon or whatever when I'm on, and you want to come in, feel free to say in the chat, "Hey Rick, can I pop on?" You're more
Sure,
than
I'd be happy
free to.
to.
I'm not sure what your schedule's like or whatever. I say
Yeah,
this
well,
to
I work freelance, and I have a 5-month-old, so my schedule is all over the place.
chaotic.
Yeah,
Well, like I said, I'm on, and if you want to come on, if you don't want to, well, you can draw. You know how to draw. If you can draw, if you want to, or you can just chat
Oh,
and
you're an
talk.
artist also?
yeah. Like my day job is I'm a freelance writer illustrator, primarily outside of comics.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Cool.
Like one of my major projects last year was I was working for a game company based out of China. I was writing a few different scenarios for them. That, well, honestly, it's pretty much all I can say because I did sign some NDAs on a couple of those.
Yeah, we understand. So yeah, you can find me here Monday through Friday doing a drawing, and I throw up a bunch of other small videos. And of course, Saturdays you can find me here talking and interviewing with somebody. Thank you very much for tuning in. And please go and subscribe to both of these fine fellows. And please go over there and back Mike on his Indigo project, Samurai and Dinosaurs. I'm sure you won't regret it. So have a great and wonderful night, day, whatever it is where you are. God bless. Where's my
Good
bye,
night.
guys?